Hi girls, I want to do a recap of how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. First of all, you have to decide what is a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is an equation where the highest degree is 2. So if you're looking at this example, which is from your textbook, A, B, C, and D, if you look at those, I want you to look for a minute and decide which of those are quadratic equations. If you said that the two quadratic equations are A and C, you're exactly correct. A has the highest degree of 2 and C has the highest degree of 2. So when we're solving quadratic equations by factoring, we have 5 steps involved. One is you set the quadratic equal to 0. And I think your textbook says put it in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So that's step 1. Get everything to one side of the equation. Step 2 is going to be to factor. And I need to just remind you one more time, factoring. Question number 1, is there a GCF? Second step, last term, is it positive? If it's positive, signs are the same. If it's negative, signs are different. And you go through your factoring. If you need help cleaning out those cobwebs, please, please, please come to me. Let's schedule a Zoom session. Let's clear out that. So 2 is to factor. And then 3 is to use a zero product property, and you set each of the factors, each of the things being multiplied equal to 0 and solve. So this is when you're going to practice your chapter 2 solving skills. So set it equal to 0, set it equal to 0. Even if there's 3 factors, set all those equal to 0 and solve. And then 4, you're going to state your conclusion. State your, let's not call it a conclusion, let's call it, state your answer. And because we're online, you're putting it into a computer, but generally you just state your conclusion in set notation, and then 5 is check. All right, with all those in mind, let's look at a couple of examples that are going to be more specific to help you with some of the problems that I know that you're going to see on WebAssign and that you saw on Delta Math. I'm walking you through your textbook, but this is the first step. This is when steps 1 and 2 have already been done for you. You're looking at examples that are already factored. They're already set equal to 0. So all you have to do is take each of the parentheses, or if there's not a parentheses, and set those terms equal to 0 and solve. I'm going to go ahead and choose a couple that have fractions in them because I'm hoping that, like, if you look at number 15, you could see those two solutions would be x, whoops, I lost my pen, x equals 3 and x equals 2. If you, what minus 3 is 0, 3, what minus 2 is 0, and so you would write that as 2, 3. It gets a little trickier, like with number 19, if we look at that. Your two solutions here would be 6x equals 0. We solve that equation, and then we solve the 2x minus 5 equals 0. Hopefully you'll get to where you can do these in your heads. Well, what times 6 equals 0? Well, 0. Divide by 6, just in case you're not tracking with me at this point. What times 2 minus 5 equals 0? It's going to be a fraction. So I add 5 to both sides. I get 2x equals 5. X equals 5 halves. And so that's what you do. So again, your solution set would be 0 and 5 halves. It doesn't change the game if you have 3 solutions. So let's take a quick look at number 24. This is going to say if I have a plain old n, that means 0 is one of my solutions. What plus 1 is the solution? Negative 1. And what minus 6? 6. So in number 24, you would have 3 solutions, 0, 1, and negative 6. I'm going to press pause just to look at those. These have already been factored for you. What's going to happen next is we're going to have to move terms to one side, factor ourselves, and do this step. Okay, I'm going to look at this set of problems because all of these, 35 through 42, are a difference of 2 squares. Remember that? So I just want to remind you of how to solve it. I feel like on Delta Math, one of them comes like 35. Instead of it being already set equal to 0, it looks like this. X squared equals 81. And then you bring it to one side and get x squared minus 81 equals to 0. Subtract 81 from both sides. I'm working 35 for you. How do I factor a difference of 2 squares? X plus 9, x minus 9. And then my two solutions would be x plus 9 equals 0. I don't think I need to be writing this down for you anymore, but I'm doing it just to make sure you see it. Boom, boom. So x is either equal to negative 9 or x is equal to positive 9. Sometimes this is a fun thing. We just write the solutions plus or minus 9, but I don't think your computer will let you do that. All right, that ramps up a tiny bit if I have a coefficient in front of that first term, but I still think you can handle this. But if I'm going to erase and look at number 42, again, difference of two squares. How do I factor 16z squared minus 25? I would factor it as I'm working this one. 42 would be 4z plus 5, 4z minus 5 equals 0. I've set 4z plus 5 equal to 0, 4z minus 5 equal to 0, solve, minus 5, 4z equals negative 5, divide by 4, divide by 4. So z is going to equal negative 5/4, or same thing over here, it's going to be positive 5/4. Equals 5 divided by 4 divided by 4. So z equals positive 5/4. So I'm going to make my little solution set plus or minus 5/4. Hopefully this is helping and you're seeing what we're doing. I'm going to now give you a couple more examples that are going to be, terms going to be all over the place. You're going to have to bring them all to one side, then factor. Okay, we just went ahead and ramped it on up. What if I have something that looks like, we'll look at 61. On 61, I would need to distribute the 9a, so which would give me 9a squared minus 27a equals 3a minus 25. This is not set equal to 0, so I need to make it. So I'm going to minus 3a, and I'm going to get 9a squared minus 30a equals negative 25. I'm going to add 25 to both sides. And so then I'm going to have 9a squared minus 30a plus 25 equals a 0. Factor. The last term is positive, so sides have to be the same. The middle one says they're both negative. Here I see a 9 and a 25, both perfect squares. I'm going to try 3a minus 5 and 3a plus 5 and see if that works for me. Well, indeed, whoops, I didn't mean that. 3a minus 5, 3a minus 5. That's what I should have said. And that is going to work. So, but I'm still going to do the smile part and see minus 15a, and that's going to give me the minus 30. Yep, looking for it. So I am then going to have, when I set it equal to 0, I'm going to have the same term. So 3a minus 5 equals 0, add 5, I have 3a equals 5, divide by 3, a equals 5/3. Because I have the same thing, I only have one solution here. So that's a little bit special, but that is my one solution. So that's that. I have one more example I'm going to show you, but hopefully this is helping just take you through a few more examples with terms that are on both sides. But here's probably the most missed problem that I've seen on what would have been on your exam and will be on your test. Okay, I'm not sure why this rocks people's world, but for whatever reason, 43 through 50, like I said, it's always on the assessment for this unit and the exam, but it tends to be a deal breaker for some reason. Well, let's just pick 46. So if I look at 46, and I say, okay, p squared equals 20p, I need to set it equal to 0, so I minus 20p, and I get p squared minus 20p equals to 0. Well, you're wanting it to be the difference of two squares, but it's not. So go back to the basics of factoring. Is there a GCF? Yes. What is the GCF? P. So then I have, okay, factor out of p minus 20 equals 0. So my two solutions are p equals 0 or p equals 20. And so don't let a problem like this where you have variables on both sides. Sometimes the only other thing, like if we look at 49, you could have 3x squared equals negative 8x. Add 8x to both sides, so I get 3x squared plus 8x equals 0. Is there a GCF? Yes. X, and then I have 3x plus 8 equals 0. And so then you're going to end up with a fraction. So you're going to have x equals 0 here, or 3x plus 8 equals 0. And hopefully you're starting to do these in your head. Minus 8, minus 8. So 3x equals 8 divided by 3 divided by 3. So your two solutions, I ran out of space, are going to have to be 0 and 8/3. Okay, I so hope this helps. If not, schedule a Zoom session with me. I would love, love, love to make your light bulb of understanding be burning brightly.